30% plans, just preliminary stuff at this time. We kind of put it on hold because there wasn't a group pushing the project any further. But we do think it would be a benefit to the island, and we would like to proceed. But the design is fairly inexpensive. Under $50,000 for the design. Like I said, we're already at 30%, so some of that money's already spent. But construction costs would come when we get closer to 90%. We'll be able to come up with those costs. Wouldn't be that expensive as a pipe and restoration.
Jim, the roundabout with the Jensen Beach roundabout, off to the just northwest section of that corner, there is an area where the water runoff goes into this area. Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
Okay. So that has no way of going anywhere from what I can see. There's no piping or anything like that. And so it keeps building up water. And you're seeing an accumulation. There's a lot of piping and sulfite gas being given off because it's so static, the water area. And I think either we need to have some way to pump it out, or somehow it also is filling mangrove here. For the same reason, you get a lot of rain, it goes up high enough where it suffocates the mangrove. You might want to look at that.
Yep.
You know the section I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the exact spot you're talking about. I didn't know that the mangroves were being impacted, but I do know that it looks like an isolated cell.
That's between Jensen Beach and the district mall, right?
Is that privately owned, or is it?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think it is. I think that's kind of property, I think.
Well, let me look into it, and I'll see. Yes, ma'am.
Even if it's privately owned, I thought people couldn't touch the mangrove, and therefore it's dying, so we should act on it. Right.
So, property owners are allowed to touch mangroves. They are allowed to modify them. They aren't allowed to completely remove them, but they are allowed to do things to their mangroves. They're allowed to trim them. They're allowed to, reduce their height by a certain amount each year. But the question really lends itself to, are they responsible for the health of those mangroves? Are they responsible to do a improvement project to improve the health of those mangroves? And I'm not sure that they are. Yeah, they're not. So it sounds like it might be a good project, but I don't know that we could force them to do that, nor could we force them to give us the property to make that.
The pipe you mentioned to move water from the drainage swale in front of the gas station to water catchment areas, is there going to be a separate water catchment area built, or are you talking about moving it into the mangrove forest?
No. We're talking about moving it into there's a roadside swale that we treat the water that's coming off the causeway. That's the swale. So that swale stays parallel to the road and then discharges at the foot of the bridge. Doesn't go into the mangrove in River Cove. Yeah, we don't want that water going into River Cove. We'd rather it discharge through that catchment area and treatment area.
Where would the pipe go?
The pipe is going to go just under the driveway entrance to the gas station. The pipe would just go from one side to the other underneath the driveway and then discharge into that grass swale. You can't really see that there's a swale there because we've got the landscaping, but there is a drainage swale that exists there. No, it's usually fairly dry. It's not wet like that area in front of the gas station. If you notice, we did add some fill into that section. So we set it up so that the next phase of work, we made that swale so it would drain to the west while we did the vegetation. Any other questions about public works projects? Yes, ma'am?
Just a general question about our water supply. We, a year or more ago, had a boil order advertised on television for City of Stewart people in the South Hutchinson Island. I understand we get our water from the City of Stewart, is that correct?
It's Martin County, right? Yeah, it's Martin County Utilities.
Martin County Utilities. What's the source of the water, the potable water?
So we have a series of wells that we take water out of, and use an RO system to treat that water.
Well, if that's the case, why, when we have our water tested, we have such high solids content. I would have thought that reverse osmosis would take a lot of that out.
It's blended with superficial aquifer water as well, because pure RO water is what they would characterize as very aggressive. It'll erode your pipes if you don't buffer it somehow, and they buffer it with
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on the answer. It's deep wells.
Martin County Utilities uses a blended water supply. They have wells that take water out of the superficial aquifer, a couple hundred feet deep, and then they have some deep wells that pull up a briny water. They use reverse osmosis to remove the salt and other ions out of it. That water, once it's purified like that, if you put it in a pipe, it would start to potentially erode the pipes, kind of like what happened in Detroit. So they mix it with the treated superficial water, and that's what gets blended and distributed through our pipe network.
Also, I wanted to ask about the sanitary sewer system. Is that a Martin County
The
collector
sanitary
system?
system is a Martin County system as well. That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I will continue on with it. If you're running it through your whole house, if you're just running it through a faucet, it's not a problem. But when it sits stagnant in pipes for a long time, that's most of your house construction is probably plastic. But anyway, in terms of utilities, we do have a couple of projects the utilities department is looking to do in the coming years. And one of them is doing some water. They have almost a little over a mile of 12-inch water main running down the island that they need to replace. But that's scheduled for 2020, and that's at a cost of about $800,000. They also are looking to, when the county purchased the water system from the Marriott, part of that plan was to, we're responsible for providing them irrigation water for about another 15 years. And so they're going to do some work to continue to maintain that. So there's a well still over there by the utility operation that provides irrigation water to the golf course. And that was part of the agreement when we purchased that from the Marriott. So those are a couple of utility projects. We also have, they mentioned earlier, was the fire station, the existing fire station. We are going to be removing that. Actually, we're going to build a new fire station at that same utility site. If you know, there's a water tower, an old water tank. It'll be located next to that. It'll have its own signalized intersection, just like the one now. So they'll have their own entryway with a emergency signal off of A1A. We'll construct that facility. The other system will remain in operation. Once it's fully operational, the fire department will move to their new facility and we'll tear down the old building. That, question of what's going to happen to that site right now, parks may expand it into additional parking, or just simply remain part of the park unused until a future date. So there is no, at this time, there isn't any determination what to do with it, other than the building is old, the rebar is rusting, and it needs to be torn down. So as soon as we get that building built, the board approved that just a month ago, and right now we'll need to get DOT permits for that road crossing and the drainage for the building. Other than that, it'll probably be under construction within the year.
When was that building built, the fire station?
Oh, I couldn't. When was the fire? I couldn't. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. Let's see. I don't have it in my notes, but it's the salt water. It may, but it's done its damage to it. Yes, ma'am.
Where exactly is it going to be across the street?
So if you go, no, the fire station will be across the street from the Marriott, close to the Marriott's entryway, right across really from the Marriott, between MacArthur and the bridge. So, but it'll be So the county, as part of the utilities parcel that we purchased. Just east of the beach that Jim talked about earlier, that's all right. And it's a well-needed, that's one of our worst fire stations in terms of state of that building right now, so that's a good project. In terms of some of the other projects that were mentioned, of course, we have an ongoing beach renourishment program, as you know, for Hutchinson Island, that we expect to do about every 8 years, and we're, in terms of the turtle nesting, the monitoring is a requirement for post-construction monitoring for 3 years. But Martin County has always continued to monitor turtle nesting even after our required monitoring, because we have one of the longest records of turtle nesting data, because it was due to the fact that when the nuclear power plant was first built, there was a lot of turtle nesting data being collected here. So we have one of the longer continuously recorded nesting data in the country. So we do continue to do that. They don't mark every nest. It's usually a statistical sampling that they mark, and they'll go back and do some evaluation of nesting success, those types of things.
Is it Martin County or Fish and Florida?
Martin County pays for that. That's all Martin County, and we use.
Fish and Florida.
Our Fish and Wildlife has nothing to do with that,
Oh, okay.
other than they permit the activity. And we use Ecological Associates, who's been a local firm here for a long time. They do all the work for us. And they've collected a massive amount of data.
This is, and I'm going to pose this question to you, but I also, since Commissioner Campion's here, I wanted to ask this question. The MSTU that we use is for, part of it is used for beach renourishment,
Yes.
correct? Okay. So, is it correct that the people on Hutchinson Island should bear the burden of that taxation in view of the fact that the whole Martin County people are enjoying the beaches? So is that a fair assessment of applying the MSTU to only Hutchinson Island?
Well, I think that's a good question. The county coastal budget is almost $5 million, of which the Hutchinson Island MSTU pays a little over $100,000.
Okay.
Even it out.
So, and when I first got hired, the beach project was just being constructed. It was in 1996, and at that time, the concept was that the oceanfront property owners paid roughly a third of the cost. The county, the MSU paid roughly a third, so you really paid 3 times, and then the general fund paid the other third of the local cost. Over time, that has shifted dramatically to where the general fund pays almost most of the cost, with some of the funds also we've got from some industrial registration fees and a few other things. But the majority is general fund revenue. So the county, by and large, pays a majority of the local costs. Then we get state funds and federal funds.
So then that brings up the second question is, if it's in general funds, then why should we be assessing another additional tax? Because people are paying that, I'm sure, through real estate or whatever, normal funds. They're not paying an MSTU for that. So why isn't our MSTU just rolled into the general funds and be a part of general real estate tax?
Well, I think, from the very beginning, the beach erosion district or erosion was looked at as a specific local issue. And, it's an ongoing debate often around the state of how you pay for beach programs. And, it varies from 100% of just the barrier island or mostly just the beachfront property owners. And in Martin County, it's largely a mix of general fund, which is actually unusual. A lot of places put more emphasis on the MSTU or on bed tax. So that's, so yes, you can, obviously it's a policy decision on how you split it up. Equity, you can get into all kinds of economic models. I hear both sides of it. Why should I help those people on the beach? And then I have the folks on the beach that say, I pay 10% of the county taxes already, why, and you don't give me the benefits. So it's always a fascinating debate, but I think it's pretty equitable here. I think you get a good deal. Yes, ma'am.
renegotiating some sort of contract with the IRP COA, and it seems to have something to do with the beach renourishment or the MSTU. I couldn't really tell what that was. Does that have anything to do with the rest of us or with the MSTU impact?
No, I'm not aware of, no. In fact, I'm not sure what it is you're exactly talking about, so I'd have to.
There was some agreement, I just saw a reference to an agreement with the IRP, between the county and the IRP POA that was made in 2013 or 2014. I don't remember when. They said they were currently renegotiating that agreement.
Oh,
I warned you to read the email.
okay. So, I know the only thing that I know we dealt with in our Indian Riverside,
Not IRP, I'm sorry, Selfish Point. I misspoke. Selfish
oh,
Point.
okay, well then, yes, I do know about that.
Selfish Point.
So Sailfish Point, we have had an agreement in the past where they not only paid the heads non-MSTU, but they were paying 50% of the cost to help in the beach renourishment activities. And that started for years. They would dredge their channel and put some sand on the beach. And we started having beach erosion really after significant beach erosion after the 2004 hurricane, and started having to do truck hauls. And so we, the POA and the Florida County Commissioners thought, why don't we work together to do a joint project? And so we did an agreement to split the costs, and that agreement has expired. And so we would like to have Sailfish Point continue to contribute to that project. It greatly helps defer the costs for the rest of us. And so we're looking to hopefully have that renegotiated. Some of the things that came up that they were interested in seeing is when we get a FEMA reimbursement, how does that factor into it? The other complication that happened is through some efforts of the town of Jupiter Island in challenging us on our inlet management plan, we had to update our inlet management plan and dealing with the responsibility of sediment bypassing. The state of Florida has a statute that requires the local entity of the inlet to take responsibility for their impact on sediment impacts to the beaches. And on the east coast of Florida, most of our beach erosion can be attributed to impacts due to the inlets. So we don't get to choose who they pick. They choose Martin County as the local sponsor, so we have a responsibility under the inlet management plan to bypass a certain amount of sand north and south. And so part of that agreement had to be modified due to that inlet management plan that it got adopted a couple of years ago.
I was told that the sand coming out of the inlet or offshore could not be pumped north of the inlet.
That could not be pumped in north.
North.
So no, that's actually just the opposite. The traditional thought is that the sediment moves generally north to south. You know, the net drift, of course, in summer conditions or strong southeast winds, you can see currents moving in the opposite direction, but the dominant wave climate for us is out of the northeast, and especially in the fall and the winter time where you get most of the sediment movement. So when you stick a jetty out or a groin, it entraps sand on one side, starves it on the other. So you have an obligation now under state law to try to mitigate your impact by putting sand downdrift. In our particular inlet, they recognize that you can also have effect to the beaches to the north, because you can have areas where you have a strong northerly drift at certain times, and it can starve sand from moving back, which is evident where we see at the beach, which is one of the very few places that exhibit erosion so close to a jetty that's impounded more sand than it occurred in the 1800s, right at the jetty, but right at the bathtub. It's an unusual situation there. So, in any event, it's a long answer to your question, which is no, there's nothing that prohibits you from moving sand to the north. So that's, so anyway, in that regard, Bathtub Beach has obviously been an ongoing issue for us for the last 10 years. We did just recently get a hazard mitigation grant from FEMA to look at raising MacArthur from the curve right as you approach the Bathtub Beach to the entranceway to Sailfish Point, and it will likely require some kind of retaining walls on the west side so we can elevate the road, because that road is low when we have significant weight events that overtops. And we'll also be looking at some, means perhaps even a seawall close to the road to protect the road so it won't wash away when we have high wave conditions. We'll still be managing the beach and the dune, but in those extreme events, we won't have to run out there on Thanksgiving and be doing truck hauls throughout the night to keep the road from washing away. So we do have over $1 million, hopefully that'll come in for that project. And so right now it's under design. We met with the DEP and going through permitting, and so sure that's something you'll all be interested in that will follow up later on. So those. I think that's pretty much what we have, which is a lot, actually. Do you have any other questions for me? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
After the Holiday Inn disaster, after the hurricane, or when they first built it, they built it too close to the water. So they gave the land south to Bob Graham Beach, that piece of land. So it's our land now and not to be built on ever, just south of the island resort.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we purchased that with lands for Yuma, as I recall.
I thought they had, Holiday Inn had to give it
No,
because
they
of
did
the,
not.
okay.
No, that was purchased with our state dollars. And that the state owns it and the county manages it on behalf of the state.
Because I was at the island resort the other day and I'm looking down and there's a lot of vegetation gone. And I wondered
There's
why.
been some trimming of, they had some arbors come in to look at the sea grapes. And the resort worked with the county staff on trimming some of those trees.
They're pretty low, the trimming then.
So they did work with arborists on that, so yes, that was done with our environmental staff and the resort. But it's state-owned property and the county manages.
Thank
All right, we have to kind of move along.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim and Mark, for giving us all that information from the county as to what's going to happen on the island. And thanks for answering all the questions that were given to you. You did a great job for us. Now we're going to have Dr. Zach Judd talk about sea turtle season. I'm sure we're all interested in that. Thank you.
Do you guys need, I can use a microphone if you guys would prefer. Hopefully this will be a little bit of a lighter topic. Before I get started, I have two things for you guys to take home with you tonight. First, I think many of you are aware of the fact that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is reevaluating the way that they store water in Lake Okeechobee. And this affects all of us because that water ultimately ends up in our estuaries and our beaches. I know Paul Lara, when I finish, is going to talk a little bit about Lake Okeechobee water issues and cyanobacteria blooms. But right now, the Army Corps of Engineers is looking into reevaluating the Lake Okeechobee Systems Operating Manual, LOSOM. This is going to be a new way of looking at how water is moved from the lake to the south, east, and west. And they're accepting public comment. We've pre-prepared a little sheet where you can just write up your thoughts and mail it right to the Army Corps. This becomes an official document. Once they receive it, they have to take your voice into account. So I've got a stack of these on the back table if you'd like to take them with you. And just write a few words about your feelings regarding the way the lake is currently managed and how it should be managed moving forward. The other thing I have for you is really important. As Hutchinson Island residents, it's important that we know how to live in peace with sea turtles. So this is a little card. It's our Dark, Flat, and Clean campaign that Florida Oceanographic Society has spearheaded. There's some reminders on the back about what to do if you ever find a sick or stranded or injured sea turtle, as well as just general reminders to keep our beaches clean and flat and dark. So grab one of these, pop it on your refrigerator with a magnet, and it's got a great reference phone number on the back. So out of curiosity, how many of you have not visited the Florida Oceanographic Coastal Center? Be honest. That's great, only a few of you. Fantastic. So our organization operates a 57-acre nature center on the island, and we're open to the public 363 or 4 days a year. We get about 65,000 visitors through the door every year, and our mission is to inspire environmental stewardship of Florida's coastal ecosystems through research education, and advocacy. So last year we had 4,400 children come through our doors on educational field trips. We run a lecture series that I know some of you guys attend at the Blake Library in Stewart. We do lots and lots of youth and adult educational programming. And tonight I'm here to talk specifically not about what we do at the Coastal Center with our 6 presentations every day, our stingray feedings, our nature trails, but specifically I want to talk to you about sea turtles. Now, the reason we talk about sea turtles so much as an organization